Welcome to AstroEnergy with astrologer angel Shelley Overton. Hello and welcome to the AstroEnergy show for February 11th, 2015. My name is Shelley Overton and I'm excited to be here with you, and I'm looking forward to doing a lot of great readings today. So, an exciting event happened today in the world of astrology. Do you know what it is? Mercury went direct, and let me tell you, I am extremely happy that that event happened. And so now we're going to just see how long it takes for Mercury to get us all back up to speed. So, let's see, is there anything else I want to discuss before we get right into all of this? It's been a really busy week. I know things have been happening, and a lot of news stories, a lot of shifts and changes. I mean, it seems to me like there's so many news stories about things coming out, so to speak, at this point. We've had a lot of different things going on, like Bruce Jenner, which I have to tell you, I watched it, all that unfold with skepticism, and I thought, okay, who would be ringing my bell? Anyway, all that unfolded, and I thought, well, it's not going to be true until People magazine says it is. And I guess they're trying to sell Girl Scout cookies to me right outside my door. I had to go peek out the window. But I can't answer the door right now, so they'll have to come back. Anyway, so I realized that was something that I was just so skeptical. It just seemed strange to me that at that age and stage of life someone would make such a big change. But then right there in the checkout lane, it's on the People magazine, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's true, because I know that they did not put it out until the very end. And so, of course, they did their research, but that's really an amazing story, and it's something that I do want to research. I want to look at what Bruce Jenner's birthday is, and I'm pretty sure there's something related to either Sagittarius, which is ruled by Jupiter, the planet of transition, and possibly Pluto. I know his age, he probably has Pluto in Leo. Jupiter's retrograde right now, but definitely something's going on with that. So he's got a grand trine in fire probably in his chart. But I'm just, speculating, so I don't have that information. If anybody listening does find that information out and wants to shoot it to me in the chat room, I will see if I can look that up on the break and kind of see what those planets look like in his chart. And what else? Bobby Christina, she has, from what I understand, from what I read, and I could be wrong, so correct me if I'm wrong, they were going to pull her off of life support today. So I don't know if that actually happened or not, but I don't particularly find that that's going to go well, unfortunately. And Jon Stewart is leaving The Daily Show. That's another big announcement. I was looking at the news before, I don't even know where I was at looking at the news, that the Little Leaguers who won the Little League trophy this year got it taken away because of residency issues with the members of the team. And I'm like, wow, that is heartbreaking for all those boys. I mean, how awful that the adults didn't do something more with integrity in that, and they just allowed that to happen, and those kids, so sad. So everything seems to be very dramatic right now. And then I don't know if you follow any of the entertainment stuff, Kanye West getting up on stage, teasing that he was going to get up and take away the award from Beck, who I personally think is a very talented artist. And then come to find out the next day that he actually was going off about how bad he wasn't as creative, and he should respect creative rights of others, and that Beyonce really should have won it. And I'm just like, wow, that woman should really sit him down. But it just seems to me like everybody, again, is just going a little bit wackadoodle. Everything is kind of extreme, again, at a peak to me. At least that's what it feels like. It's kind of another energetic peak. And so, yeah, anyway, so what is going on? What's going on in the sky today? We have Moon in Scorpio as we speak, and as I mentioned earlier, Mercury went direct this morning at 9:57 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and he is, of course, in Aquarius. So the Sun is at 22 Aquarius, which means the energy of Pisces is going to be coming into the view again. And quite honestly, Mars in Pisces I'm feeling that extremely strong right now, feeling that whole energy of difficulty fighting against the flow. And I know I even preach this, and I know it's true. You shouldn't fight against the flow because there's a reason for it. But I think that after the last couple of years when it felt like we have been trying to get on board with some new vision, and every turn we have squares between Uranus and Pluto, we have oppositions in the sky, and Jupiter and Uranus, and not opposition, excuse me, but I know Jupiter, my brain is mush, I tell you. It's just every Wednesday, I don't know what it is. I wonder if it's just some energy that comes into my life every Wednesday that's like, oh, by the way, now you're going to get drowsy right before your show. Because it seems to always happen at 3 o'clock on Wednesday, but no other day, and I don't know why that is. But anyway, and then I'm actually looking at the headlines here as I'm reading this. It says 3 students killed near UNC. So there's definitely something in the air. Scorpio moon, again, it's in conjunct Uranus in Aries, which is, to me, a point that it's 150 degrees apart, and it's a point that is uncomfortable, and I think people act out at that point, especially when you couple a moon in Scorpio, which can be the really deep, darker energy coming up. And I don't think I finished my thought from before either. With Saturn and Scorpio, that was like the dark, emotional, watery energy that, we were always all fighting against the last couple of years. And of course now, today, Moon is in Scorpio, and so the emotional feeling of this day is also that kind of deep, dark, slogging, like hopelessness on some level. It definitely goes to the dark side of things. And then in conjunct to Uranus, again, taking action, doing the unexpected, but it's a power struggle. It's trying to find our personal power, and Aries means it's personal, and Uranus means where is our place within the collective. And so when the moon is in Scorpio, there's a disenfranchisement with the collective in that in conjunct. So, people who are more susceptible to it will, have a difficult time and are more at risk for doing things like that, like, going ballistic. And then we have an opposition, kind of a parting opposition of the Sun to Jupiter, and the Sun is in Aquarius and Jupiter in Leo. We have a square within 2 degrees of Saturn to Neptune. Again, Saturn in a fire sign, wanting to take action. Neptune getting all watery and saying, no, we're not going to do that. We want to just be in the emotional side. But having Mars in Pisces, it can add to that. I mean, the Venus-Mars conjunction in Pisces, they were 5 degrees apart. We are in this watery energy, and we've got some fire going on, and there's 4 planets in fire. Actually, I take it back. South Node is Aries. It's a node of the moon. And then we have Pluto in Capricorn, which is Earth, and that's in conjunct Jupiter today within 2 degrees. So we've got that little burr under the saddle. And then there's a third in conjunct between Jupiter and Venus right now by 2 degrees. So we have 3 inconjuncts floating around, and actually, and then there's a 45 degree angle between the Sun and Mars right now, which is also adding to it, by the way. Of course, because the Sun in Aquarius is that erratic, unknown energy. And I say this, I don't want it to sound like the Aquarian energy is loose cannon, because that isn't true. It's when it's coupled with other energies, emotional energies, fire energy, so water and fire, it can ignite that erraticism. So definitely we have some of that going on. But anyway, so let's see what else we have here. So Mercury's direct now in Aquarius, so that means he's going to be floating through the air in Aquarius. Even though it's Aquarius, it's an air sign. And he's going to be bringing us that clarity again, or the potential, depending on what our planets are, the potential for channeling and really understanding situations much clearer now. And he's a chatty guy. Aquarius is a chatty energy. It's air. It wants to speak. It wants to get its point across. And then we have Sun in Aquarius. So it's interesting because Sun is ego, but Aquarius is really the lack of ego. When you think about it, it's putting the collective before the self. So it is about the humanitarian side of it. And then you have it opposed to Jupiter and Leo is again about ego, and it's about connecting one-on-one. So with Jupiter retrograde, Jupiter is a transition energy, a transformational energy, and retrograde means that he can turn his intensity on himself, and in our charts it turns that intensity backwards and makes us feel like we're inadequate or not connected to others, which is really difficult for Leo. Leo has to connect. Leo wants to connect and build relationships. And with the Sun, the ego, which is his ruler, in opposite sign of Aquarius, he has a detachment energy, the lesson of detachment going on with the ego. So it's about getting past self and transforming to try and think of others as well, not just the self. Then we have Neptune in Pisces, and Neptune again is squaring Saturn. So Neptune is dreamy, wanting to escape, feeling tired. Venus, Mars conjunct in Pisces, also very dreamy, the visionary, the psychic. Probably the most tuned in sign of the zodiac is Pisces. The water signs tend to be really tuned in because they're emotional and they don't seem to have as much ability to get up and move forward, with the exception possibly of Scorpio because of the Plutonian energy infused, which is very assertive and dogmatic. So Pisces and Cancer, 2 water signs that can be bogged down by the feelings and the energy and emotional psychic connection to other people, the empathy. So we're feeling that right now really strongly, especially with the moon. So, of course, the moon goes into Sagittarius. Gosh, I just posted it today. When did I say? It goes in 11:46 a.m. tomorrow. So then that will add a little bit more fuel to the Aries fire with Uranus, and it'll be in grand trine with Saturn and Uranus. And then, of course, as it goes along later on the next day, it'll be conjunct Jupiter. So there could be some more ego energy emerging, emotional ego energy. I wouldn't be surprised if we see something else coming up in that timeline. The other thing is the moon is going in, and I just posted this today too. I think it is, I want to say the 18th. Yep, new moon on the 18th. Moon at 29 degrees Aquarius, so which is Ash Wednesday. Because it's a new moon, it creates Ash Wednesday. And Sun enters Pisces. That is unbelievable. It's the 18th of February. That's kind of an early date. But anyway, so the Sun enters Pisces on the 18th, and Venus enters Aries on the 20th, and a lot of shifts and changes in the next week. So let's see what else is the next major thing here that I can think of and look for. I guess that pretty much says it, coming up with the new moon. So new moon in Aquarius, really great time to release. So Capricorn wants to organize and clutter clear, and Aquarius says, okay, you're right, you've organized, and let me give you a little extra help with that clutter clearing and that clarity, the ability to let go. So if you've been having a little bit more difficult time with that Capricorn Pluto letting go, it's maybe bringing up the desire to let it go, but you haven't actually acted on it. The new moon, if you write down what you're trying to let go, release it that day. That's great to do. Okay, I'm sidetracking here. So what I want to do now that I've kind of gone around the zodiac is I want to talk about Cancer. So the sign of Cancer in the astrology is the sign of the crab, and it is ruled by the moon. And so the moon is a very changeable energy. Of course, he changes, it. The moon changes signs. Luna, it's a she, sorry. Changes signs every roughly two and a half days. And so those who are ruled by the moon can be very emotionally changeable because every time the moon changes, so do their moods. And, as a person with Mars in Cancer, I completely can testify that this is true because every time the moon changes, my drive tends to change. And what I thought I was capable of doing suddenly is now, without wind in its sails. And so the Cancer energy is introspective and can be introverted. They want to run into their shell because they are so connected to other people emotionally. They understand the sensitive side of life like a mother would, like a mother who bonds with her child. That energy is right there in the Cancer sun sign. And of course, sun is the ego. So when you put the ego in Cancer, it can get more moody and withdrawn. Cancers tend to worry, and they worry about security because they are so exposed. They're so exposed emotionally that their opposite sign of Capricorn is a really big help for them to create that boundary and that structure that they lack. And I can tell you, my mother has a Cancer rising, Cancer sun, Cancer moon, and I think she has Mars in Cancer, and then she's got 4 planets in Cancer. I think Saturn too. I know Saturn's in Taurus. So one more planet, I can't remember off the top of my head, but she's got 4 planets in Cancer and a Cancer rising. And interestingly, she has channeled the opposite energy of Capricorn much more strongly than she does the Cancer energy. She is very domestic, and that's another hallmark of Cancer. Cancerians really do look at the home as their security, and they can be domestic. They cook and bake and clean and decorate, and that's how they express their energy, especially if you're Mars in Cancer, which I am. You express it around the home. And that's also where you feel the most comfortable in expressing your drive, your ambition and expression of your ambition is around the home. So Cancer rules the breast, obviously, because the breasts nurture children. And so that is mammary, it's just a natural body part that Cancer rules. And so what else can I tell you about Cancer? I think that pretty much covers it. It's pretty sensitive and emotional. They can run and hide, like when they get angry or upset, they will run away. They are the best sign for passive-aggressive and also withdrawing, using the silent treatment. Those are 2 hallmarks of an angry Cancer. So, yeah. So if you can think of anything else I left out, just let me know in the chat room, and I will address that. So let's go over to the call center and see who we have for some calls today. 678. Hi, who is this?
Hi, Shelley. This is Regina.
Hi, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. What can I do for you?
I just want to see what's coming up for me the next few months, or any changes.
Okay.
As far as relationships or career, whatever you can pick up.
All right, let's see what we have. Well, just for those listening who want to follow along, you're born January 8th, and
yes.
So you have a Sun in Capricorn and 28-degree Capricorn rising. So what's coming up? And I'm sorry, I was looking to get your chart and everything. You said you wanted to know about career, or you wanted to know about love?
I really like to know about relationship or love.
Relationships. Okay. Well, definitely you're being affected by Jupiter retrograde right now, because it's retrograde in your house of commitment and relationships and marriage, which, yes, there are other houses that rule relationships. To me, the second and the fifth, because one is Taurus, which is the ruler is Venus, and the fifth is Leo, which is, relationships and relating. But as far as commitment and marriage, the seventh house is about the marriage, and the eighth house, the one right after it, is about the commitment to the person. So Jupiter's retrograde in your seventh house right now, and he's about 10 degrees away from your Mars. So you have Mars and Leo in that house. So for you, you've been experiencing in the last 4 or 5 months having Jupiter right there in Leo on your Mars. So you've been wanting to connect to somebody. And if you're talking about relationships, I'm assuming you don't have a relationship. Is that true?
Right.
Is that true?
Right.
Okay. So Jupiter retrograde is saying, well, you really have to pay attention to this, specifically for you, because you have Saturn in Leo and you have Mars in Leo. So there's a lot going on in this house for you. You want that connectedness to another person. Jupiter is the planet of expansion, and retrograde means he's turning his energies inward. So he's wanting you to get a little bit more spiritual, get a little bit more self-aware, learn about your creative nature, and go within and learn about you, because going forward means he is expressing outward, and then you can attract someone. So he goes direct in April of this year. I believe it's like April 6th or 7th. And when he does that, in the next half of the year, I think between April and August, he'll be going right through your house of marriage and partnership. So that looks much better for you, bringing someone in. And because your Mars is right there, right now I think in some aspects you're pulling in your energy, and people may feel like you're a bit guarded, so that they're not necessarily asking you out. The Pisces energy is really strong right now for you. So there's a lot of, I hate to say it, but Pisces does make us pull in a bit. They just want to go to bed, stay in the room and kick in and go to bed. So that energy is, it's a little bit at odds with the Leo energy, but Jupiter's retrograde. So kind of, in a way, even though it's not terribly comfortable, it does work with that same pulling in, getting a little bit clearer about what it is you need to have from a partner that helps support who you are as a creative, connected individual, because you want a person who is going to open themselves up and be there with you and for you. And you need to connect. That energy, like I would say, Leo is the energy of going to dinner and having a nice conversation and really getting to know each other. So when Jupiter goes direct, that's going to be the best time for you after April. And definitely by August, I think August is going to bring someone in really strongly. And literally, he's going to be going into Virgo. And right, like 29 degrees, which is the last degree Jupiter can be in before he goes into Virgo. That's where your Saturn is, which means structure and commitment. So I think that's going to be a really good time for you. And hang on a second, I also want to see, he'll be in Scorpio again too. So there's kind of like this kicking back up, especially with the Pisces in your second house, kicking back up of old energy and old relationships. I'm sorry, did you not hear?
Yes, I heard you.
Okay, definitely I think you have to, this is what I see specifically for that too. September 16th, that's the date that Saturn hits 29 degrees Scorpio, which is an exact square to your natal Saturn. Okay? So that tells me that there's some kind of past relationship that is coming back in, and it's like a final understanding of that power over you, that energy, because that's what Saturn in Scorpio is. It's power, and it was that emotional bond. So there's going to be that energy coming up for you. And let me see where it's 29. So it's up in your house of career also. So there could be some connectedness to something going on with your career and a partnership. Now, with Jupiter at that point, I want to see where Jupiter is at that date. Jupiter is at 8 degrees Virgo. So he's already past the point where he goes in and touches off your natal Saturn. Hang on a second, I'll see the date. So I hope you have a pencil. So the 7th of August and the 8th of August and the 9th, well, the 7th through the 11th of August. Those are the dates that Jupiter will be directly on your Saturn and triggering, some really strong shift and change energetically with a relationship. And I would say that's a time that you're really vibrating at a high level to attract someone. Okay?
Oh,
so let me see. Yeah, and of course on Valentine's Day, everyone wants to know about that. Mars is going to be, let me just double check. I want to say he's in Pisces, but I just want to make sure because he's right there at the end degrees. So Mars on Valentine's, yeah, he's still in Pisces. He's at 25 degrees, and then about a week later, he goes into Aries. So he's kind of at that watery end of his time in Pisces, and in your chart, that's the energy of past relationships and past money issues. And I do see that that's probably going to be a theme also with the August date and the time when Jupiter hits your Saturn and when Scorpio is at the last degrees of, or Saturn's at the last degrees of Scorpio in the sky. So it's money, it's value, it's personal value, and that also plays into the same energy in your chart, okay? So really what I'm telling you is you have to pay attention to how you feel about yourself, how you value yourself, and then you will be able to attract someone who values you physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all the ways you want to be valued. But you have to do it first, okay?
Okay.
So
thank you.
Anyway, it's exciting. I mean, it's there. There's definitely a lot of shifting going on in your chart this year, especially with Saturn and Sagittarius triggering career and then triggering your natal Saturn in relationships. So just look to those dates, and if you need any more information, you know where to get me. It's astrologerangel.com. Okay?
All right. Thank you, Shelley.
You're welcome. Take care. Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay, let's see. We've got... Actually, I think I'm going to take a break here, and then we'll get back to our calls, and I'll give out the phone number, too. The phone number, if you want to get a reading, is 347-994-3365, and we're going to take a bit of a break here. I'm going to just get you some relaxing music. I'm going to get Ironwood Rain for now, and we'll see you soon. APolkadotSky.com has items for all your summer needs, with unique artistic designs from whimsical to serious, fun to photographic. APolkadotSky.com brings fantasy and beauty to your t-shirts, mugs, cig bottles, or clocks. APolkadotSky.com brings the brightly colored art and fantasy world of Shelley Overton to many everyday items, such as tote bags and beach bags for those sun-filled days at the beach. You'll find summer shirts and winter warm-ups with bright colors, animal motifs, and flowers that APolkadotSky.com dreams up for your enjoyment. Stop by APolkadotSky.com today. Tell them Shelley sent you.
Shelley Overton has been practicing astrology for over 25 years and studying it for over 30. As an intuitive astrologer, Shelley is able to give insightful information on celestial influences to your reading. For a personal one-on-one reading, contact Shelley through astrologerangel.com. Shelley gives personal readings which last over an hour on the phone, or you can request a written astrological analysis. At astrologerangel.com, we can do horary charts, electional charts, and relationship charts. If you are budget-minded, astrologerangel.com can answer a single question, or you can get a 15-plus page computer-generated report. Contact Shelley Overton through astrologerangel.com to get your personalized reading today.
And welcome back. This is Shelley Overton, and you're listening to the AstroEnergy Show on Blog Talk Radio. So let's see. If you'd like to get a reading from me, you can get me at astrologerangel.com, and also Angel Zodiac, Mercury retrograde. I think if you've listened to the show before, you know that I lost all my websites during the Mercury retrograde, and I lost the speaker capacity and jack on my phone. So I am not happy with the electronic state this past Mercury retrograde. Anyway, enough of that. So let's go back and take some more callers. Let's see here. Okay, I think I already took this one, though. 586. Did I already take you?
Hi. No, you didn't.
Hi. Oh, okay. Hi. Who is this?
My name's Teresa.
Teresa. Okay. Hi. Nice to meet you. Let me get your birth information real. So what time and date were you born?
I was born on 5/22, 1963.
Okay. What time?
I'm going to say about 11:38, right around there.
11:38
a.m.
a.m. Okay. And where were you born?
Detroit.
Okay. Now I get to tell you an amazing fact. My sister was born May 23rd, 1963. How amazing is that? Wow.
It's pretty amazing.
That's pretty amazing that you would have been born the very day before my sister.
Yeah, that is cool.
She was born in Deadwood, South Dakota, though. So
okay.
Kind of similar area of the world, Midwest. So what can I do for you today?
I was just going to kind of look and see if you see what's going on career-wise, because it seems to have taken quite a few steps back.
Oh, okay. How long has it been going backwards for you?
I'd say since July.
July. Okay. Career-wise, you have 3 planets up in your career house. You have Sun in Gemini, you have Moon in Taurus, and Mercury in Taurus, okay? Your Saturn is in Aquarius, so you're experiencing a lot. So Aquarius, just so you understand, is ruled by Uranus. Uranus, the planet, is squaring Pluto right now, and it's a very big aspect, especially for those of us born in the early 60s. So you know a bit about this, right?
A little bit, yes. And I can
okay.
It's just been affecting me like nothing ever before.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the problem, I experience it too. It's in my 11th house, the conjunction between Uranus and Pluto from the early 60s. For you, it falls directly in the middle of your first house. So this is part of your identity. You're a healer in this life, and you're an alternative healer in a lot of ways. That's how you see the world, is through this generational aspect. You are so closely linked to all the people born with that aspect. I would say out of anybody I've ever talked to, you probably are feeling it more than anybody I've talked to, because the Pluto-Uranus conjunction is in your first house. And I don't think I've talked to anybody with that before. So and on top of it, you have Saturn in Aquarius. And honestly, I have Saturn, by progression, my Saturn is in Aquarius. So I do understand what you're saying. It's kind of like this uncomfortable feeling. Now, have you felt a period where you felt like you were moving forward and then it kind of stopped, or is it steadily been backward?
It was like July it stopped for a little bit, but then it started to move forward very progressively until about November, the middle, and then all of a sudden it was just like boom, and I'm like, what happened?
Well, what happened is Saturn went into Sagittarius, and then he opposed your Sun and your career house. And he's going
big
back.
Time.
Yeah, and then he's also squaring Neptune for you. It doesn't directly hit your career, but Saturn does affect us. Let me see. I'm just doing some math here. So I think that, without going back and say, oh, this is why you're feeling that, I'm going to just tell you what I see for the rest of this year, okay?
That's great, and especially if it's going to go forward.
It is. And Mars is what you want to look at, okay? Because Mars is taking action forward. I know he retrogrades every couple of years, and I'm thinking he may have one coming up this year. Let me double check. Okay, good. This isn't one of the years that I see so far. Okay, no retrogrades for Mars this year, which is really good, which means that he's going to continue to move us forward through the Zodiac. So until the third week, technically the 19th of February, he'll be in Pisces. Again, that watery energy, like sluggish, slow, nothing's happening. And it also was going through your house of marriage and partnership. So if you had any partnership situations, it kind of slowed that down. When he goes into Aries, he's going to be in your house of money from other people and legacies, inheritance, joint finances, anything that relates to insurance, legalities, the government. You might get I would think that especially when he goes into Taurus, that you're going to get April a good refund. I don't know if you've filled out your taxes yet, but you've got Moon and Mercury in Taurus and Venus, so I'm guessing that you're probably on your taxes. You're pretty like, got my taxes covered. I know what's coming. But Mars going into Aries is going to be joint finances. Then when he gets to Taurus, at 18 degrees, he goes into your house of career, which is the top of your chart in the midheaven. And that is the 26th of April. So just after the middle of April. I know that seems a ways away. Hopefully you can manage to keep going at that, in that timeline. But at the end of April, that's also when the sun is going to be in Taurus. So you'll have the sun and Mars triggering your midheaven, triggering your career house, and it's also the sign of money. And it'll start before then. Mars gets into Taurus literally the first day of April, April 1st. Hopefully it won't make us all April Fools this year. But, it's pretty amazing coming up for you in April. So is that...
Well, that's good. I mean, it does, because it's just, I can feel things are kind of slowly moving forward. And like I said, it was such a sluggish time that I was like, what's going on? But it was also a very reflective time as well. It was very frustrating at times. Yeah. Now I feel like
it's been very frustrating.
I mean, and I'm so glad that you said that of you, of all people, you know what I mean? That you knew how much it was really affecting me, because I'm thinking I've never had anything affect me like this before, and I'm like, this is just too bizarre. But I also used it as a looking inside myself and being very reflective.
Yes. Well, Jupiter retrograde also has an effect, and that happened just after Christmas, I believe it was. I can look it up while I'm talking to you, but that was a big one. Jupiter going retrograde, it's like, oh, please, really? Because I like Jupiter direct, and Jupiter in Leo is, for me, it's in my midheaven, but going retrograde means that he's pulling back that open, fun energy. So he went retrograde January 7th. So, around that time, for you, it got to be really psychological, because Jupiter is about expansion, and that rules your Venus, which is also in Taurus and is up there in the 9th house. And Venus is money. And so, the ruler of that house is going to affect that part of your life. And it's also education. It's about learning things, and it's about learning about yourself. It's about learning about creative energy that you put out. I'm just trying to think. Do you have, it's a dramatic side, a dramatic energy, and it's relationship issues, how you relate to people, and if you want to relate to people. I mean, Jupiter in the 12th house is probably making you go, I just want people to leave me alone right now. And you probably are feeling like, I just want to create, I want to do what I feel like, especially all the Pisces energy. It's more moody and self-involved right now. And then when Jupiter goes direct, he's going to be right on your Mars, and it's going to be like you're going to go into the spotlight again. You're going to have the energy. And I can guarantee you, by the time he hits the end degrees of Leo, which I think is July, August, let me just double check. And then when he gets to there, you're going to be really busy, believe me, in July, because he's going to be right there on your Mars, July 15th, 14th even. Okay, so write that date down. And then the 14th, he's going to be on your Mars. The 15th, he's going to be going into your first house. Actually, I take it back. Not quite that quick. I'm just looking at the numbers here, 25, 50. So on the 24th of July, he goes into your first house. And then pretty soon after that, he gets into Virgo on the 11th of September. 12th of August. So August is going to be the kickoff month for you. This is like a whole new you. I'm just giving you a heads up. It's, when Jupiter goes over your Mars, he's wrapping up the old energy of looking within, needing the ego boost, and then he goes into pragmatic Virgo, and you have a 25-degree Leo rising, which means you're at the end stages of what you've had to learn karmically about that energy. And then when Jupiter goes into Virgo, you're going to be off to the races. Jupiter will be right on Uranus for you. It'll be like you're literally being born again. That's what it's going to be like. You're going to be a whole new person, and it's going to be about work and, giving out the energy. I think, do you do any kind of healing energy work at all?
I do, yeah.
Do you do Reiki?
Yeah, I'm a Reiki master, massage therapist.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
and
that
it just kind of
is
combined
going to take
the two.
off. Pardon me?
I said I just kind of combine the two, in my sessions.
Wow, well, I wish you lived in Orlando. I would love to.
I wish I did right
there.
now too. It's warmer down there.
I don't know about that. I'm sitting here with a sweater on, and I had my space heater on today. It's only a high of 66, I think. Let me look. I'm just updating my weather, but it's pretty chilly down here. But it's still pretty nice. I mean, comparatively, there's no snow, and it's going to be 71 tomorrow, which is just about perfect, and it's sunny the rest of the week. So yes, I completely get that. Are you in Michigan still?
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
I'm in Michigan. We had a snowstorm, but a lot of it's kind of melting now, so which is good.
That's nice.
Wow. And I always seem to thrive around the springtime. I always seem to start thriving around the springtime.
Yeah, I love spring is my number one favorite time of year because it is all the flowers, the rebirth, the fresh, clean, crisp air. You just feel like you can tackle the world. And then go get an ice cream cone because the ice cream truck's going by. But anyway, well, I hope that helps you.
It does. Thank you. I mean, at least I can see a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. It's been a rough ride. And I wasn't expecting that. I was going so well, and then all of a sudden, everything just kind of got thrown off, and I was like, whoa, what's going on?
Yeah, and part of it is, too, that Jupiter in Leo squares your Venus, and now he's coming into square with your Mercury at your midheaven. He literally is squaring your midheaven right now, retrograde. So the date you really are looking for is April 6th to go direct and to start moving forward, because then he'll get out of square with all that Taurus that you have in your chart. And then he's going to go, briefly he's going to square your sun at 0 degrees Gemini when he goes into Virgo. But then right after that, he's going, and you have a natal Uranus square your sun in your chart. So there is this, it's like you're really wanting to get out what you have to say, but you're kind of at odds with yourself because your sun in Gemini in your career house really wants to tell the story to everybody who will listen. And you have Mercury up there, which just puts an exclamation point on that. And the moon's there. So there's this pragmatic, energetic need to express yourself and be heard, especially because Taurus, which Moon and Mercury are in, rule the throat. So if you find that you have throat issues or respiratory issues, because Sun in Gemini is the lungs, so it's throat and lungs. If you're not doing what you need to do to express yourself in a public arena, say giving speeches or giving classes or whatever you can do, you will get throat issues. Okay?
Okay.
And then, like I said, Jupiter's there right now, and he's internalizing things in the 12th house. So this is your time to really go deeper and understand the subconscious, subliminal things going on for you about attention, because this is what's going to happen. Leo wants attention. Jupiter in Leo expands that need for attention, but it's in the 12th house, which says, I want attention, but I really don't want to be public about it. It's kind of a dichotomy, because he's craving attention, but he doesn't want it to be out. He wants it private attention, okay?
Yeah.
When he goes into the first house, he's going to have a lot more to say and a lot more freedom to do it. And now Virgo is very pragmatic. So the irony, though, is Uranus conjunct Pluto in the first house in Virgo is very unique, okay? So Virgo's pragmatic and traditional because it's an earth energy. Uranus and Pluto are very changeable, especially. They both have change in them. Uranus is about changing the self because it's in the first house, but it's about changing the mind of a generation, which is Pluto. They both have humanitarianism in common because Pluto rules generations, 12 years of people being born. So that whole generation came in as a precursor to the new energy of what I believe the last 15 years, which are the children born in Aquarius. So Uranus in Virgo understands that quickness of thought, that need to get it done right away, and also have a very strong affinity for the internet and the ability to for the freedom of the internet. So I don't know if you're very connected to the internet, but I would recommend, and if it's not happening now, it will by then, you have Saturn in Aquarius and Uranus in the first house, you are lit up like a Christmas tree when it comes to channeling information and understanding things. So you're highly creative with the Mars in the 12th, and then Pluto is about life change. So when you have Uranus conjunct Pluto in the first house, you know about changing your identity. You know about that shift, and you also know about alternative methods of things. That's why alternative healing is going to become really big as the energy, especially of Jupiter hitting the Virgo, because all those babies born in the early 60s are coming into their own now. And Jupiter's hitting that energy just after Uranus squares Pluto, which was it's really an interesting energy. I haven't really talked about this, but Uranus in Aries squaring Pluto in Capricorn. Capricorn's an earth sign. Pluto was in an earth sign when it was conjunct Uranus. So that energy, it's like the earth and groundedness. And then now it's Pluto squaring Uranus, which is the change, the humanitarian change. And now we're going to have Jupiter on top of that for all the babies born in the early 60s. It's going to be like waking up. And specifically for you, because in the first house, it's like you're suddenly going to feel like you have found your calling and your energy is finally being recognized. And I think Jupiter, what it does, and I've got chills all over my body for this, chills. Jupiter is going to hit Mars in Leo, the last degrees of Leo, say you recognize now that you were here to have a spotlight of sorts and to be the center of an energy that's coming in. And then when he crosses the threshold into your first house and hits Uranus, the work comes and you will find your voice and you'll find the words, because Uranus is chatty and so is Virgo. So Jupiter is going to be pulling the energy from one planet to another, and that's what, when you look at planets that transit in the Zodiac, that's what they do. They change, they bring the light from one planet to the next. So, and Jupiter is expansion, it's spotlight, at the end degrees of the house it rules, it's the public eye, and it's about teaching. So I wouldn't be surprised if, if you're a Reiki master teacher, that you're going to be teaching. I'm probably going to be teaching as well, because I have the same energy. I have 4 planets in Virgo. 2 of them are Uranus and Pluto. So we are the teachers. We're the ones who came in to teach about the new energy and alternative healing and wellness. So it's there.
That's
it's
exciting.
Coming. You just
For
have
me,
to be
that's
patient.
exciting, because I think that's what I've been waiting for. And like you said, to have the patience, but it's hard to have the patience when you're dealing with so many different aspects. And I think what I'm just always so in amazement, the planets can take everything down in a minute, but it takes a whole year to build. But it takes a whole year to build it back up. But I know that's like the death and the rebirth process. And it makes sense to me. It really does. The whole thing does make sense to me.
Yeah. Well, the themes that you have in your chart are, you've got a Jupiter in Aries in your natal chart in the house of other people's money. So it's almost like you've been fighting your whole life to try and express that. And now Uranus is within 3 degrees of your natal Jupiter. He's been transiting over it. I think he'll probably go back when he goes retrograde later this year. And so he's trying to tell you, this is your time to earn your own way, that he wants you to have that autonomy, that entrepreneurship that you've been wanting to have. And it's been difficult. I mean, people like you and I are really trying to express this energy that came in when we were born, I think, for our whole lives. I think having Saturn where it's at, it's in Aquarius, and so it was kind of like we've had to wait for the world to catch up to us, because we came in really understanding things on that next level. And honestly, the generation before us is very it's a different generation, because it's practical, and it's so striking, the difference. And that's probably because when we were born is when the shift happened in society. All of the hippie generation, the free love, and everything that came in with us, that's our generation. We're here for that change. And now we're maturing, and the generation before us is at the end days of their energy of Pluto and Leo. So it's about shifting from the old way of thinking to the new way of thinking, and to being much more holistic and not as egoic. The Virgo energy for sure, Pluto and Virgo, is about austerity on some level, and I hate it because I think I think a lot of us at this point, those of us who have spent our whole lives being the ones to save everyone, we're kind of tired of saving everyone. We want to save ourselves now, and so it's a change and shift in our attitude. And I think it's kind of like you have to put the oxygen mask on yourself before you can help everyone else. And all along we've been putting the oxygen mask on everyone else, and they don't appreciate it. So now, as soon as we recognize that we have to appreciate what we came here to give the world, that's when it will take off. And it's right on the precipice. I mean, seriously, between September and, on after that, that's the demarcation, September of this year, when Jupiter goes into Virgo. It will absolutely awaken those two planets, which until March 16th, they've been squaring each other for the last 2 years. And after March 16th, they finally part ways and won't do that again for our lifetimes, thankfully, because it's been so difficult for that generation.
It has been difficult. It has been that, but I can see what you're saying, that whole transition in energy. And I do feel like I've just been sitting here waiting for. It's like, okay, I'm here to do something. Let's get on with it. I'm really bored with everything that's going on here.
Yes.
So if we're going to do this, let's get it done.
I do. I absolutely do feel the same way, that it's like, okay, I've seen this for all my life, and I've finally gotten to a point where I can't deny that this is what I am and what I feel. And, I don't know what it's like where you live, but I live in Florida, and Florida tends to be extremely conservative. And I'm an artist and an astrologer. It doesn't get any more fringe than that in society,
Yeah.
So that fringe element is what Uranus and Aquarius are all about, because Saturn in Aquarius for you, and me I have a 0-degree Saturn in Pisces. Out of the gate, it was retrograde when I was born, so it retrograded right back into Aquarius from the very beginning, and has been there my whole life. So for all intents and purposes, until I'm 54, Saturn's retrograde in Aquarius. That's what rules astrology, and you could do astrology too. Saturn in Aquarius is like the ruler of astrology. And so that's why all our lives, I think we've really been justifying our alternative way of thinking, and nobody wanted to hear until now. And it's about to be the shift and change that makes us the norm, and everyone will start to really acknowledge and appreciate what we have to give the world. I really do believe that.
Oh, that's beautiful. It really is.
Yeah, it's exciting. But, boy, it's long overdue.
Very much long overdue. I'm glad that you understand all this, because I can see that you've been dealing with a lot of the same stuff that I've been dealing with. Yeah,
it has. I mean, the Saturn in Aquarius is also the sign of multiple professions. So, if you have many avocations or whatever, don't be surprised. That's part of it. You're interested in infinite things. You're passionate about infinite things, and especially Uranus in the first house in Virgo. And Virgo's ruled by Mercury, and you have Sun in Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury. So you've got so much electrical energy going on in your chart. You definitely understand things before they happen. You're probably always a step ahead of the masses. So just know that's in your chart. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Shelley.
You're welcome. It was my pleasure talking to you. Thank you for hanging out with me for 20 minutes.
It was my pleasure talking to you. Thank you.
All right. I hope you call back and let me know how it goes. Take care of yourself.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, bye. And everyone else, thank you so much for listening. We are at the end of the show, and I'll see you next week. Thanks for stopping by AstroEnergy this week. If you would like to get a hold of Shelley Overton, you can get her at astrologerangel.com, on Facebook at AstroEnergy or Astrologer Angel. The music was provided by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com with additional music by Ironwood Rain. Check them out on the net at Ironwood.